So our next guest that we have on is Lloyd, and he's going through this proposal here. You can get to at resi.works. Now, Lloyd, I know you've been working on this one for a while. I've seen it through some previous funds as well. So this is quite interesting. You've got your website up there. So you've got a couple of proposals in this one, but this is all around urban farmers and everything that you've been doing in the ecosystem there. And I'm pretty interested in this one because this is just different out of the whole crypto DeFi kind of thing. So it's kind of refreshing to have something completely different and touch on the real fi side of things. So Lloyd, welcome, and your time starts now.
Hey, Peter, and thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm here today because I'm sharing our RESI proposals, and this is the team from Living Greens Urban Farm. We put forward these proposals. There's 4 of them, and they're all linked at our website. Thanks for mentioning that, Pete. It's at resi.works. So our RESI token is available every epoch at Drip Drops, and it's a token that supports projects that build community resilience and sustainability practices such as urban farming, and of course all on the Cardano blockchain, all using native assets. So this is how and why we have a great fit with this wonderful Cardano community. We did deliver our Fund 8 proposal. That was the Urban Farmer dApp, and while we were not funded in Fund 9, we tried, but we didn't quite make the cut. We still kept moving forward, and we've actually completed everything we said we would complete in Fund 9 from a programming perspective. So our team worked together on our own dime and our own time and just managed to get the rest of the programming done. So we're really happy about that. And we also have, in addition to that Urban Farmer dApp, it was able to complete our block bounty tool. Originally, it was just meant to help farmers get extra help on the farm, but we realized it actually fits in with a lot of things that the Cardano community could use. So we broke the tool out from Urban Farmer, and it's now standing on its own as block bounty. And so in Fund 10, we're asking for help with our open sidechain, open source sidechain launcher, our block bounty protocol, and then the educational features for our Urban Farmer dApp. And lastly, I have an entrepreneurship education series that I've been doing at Catalyst after Town Hall, and I'd like some help to really formalize that and do some more help with that for our community. Again, building resilience in the community, right? So our open source sidechain launcher, it's a critical piece of infrastructure for Cardano. It allows you to quickly and easily define and launch an entire application-specific sidechain. So that helps scalability on the Cardano network. So it's good. We're also, as a part of that, we're building an on-chain discoverability and intent. If you guys know Adam Dean, he's built a SIP88 for fungible tokens and non-fungible tokens to do on-chain intent as to what that token will do. Similar to that, we're doing an on-chain intent for sidechains, and that's what we're going to do, and that will end up being a SIP of its own, and that's all included in the open source sidechain launcher toolkit. The next one is our block bounty protocol. This is actually a really small proposal for our team, but it's our developer who's building block bounty has very limited extra time, but he's going to put forth the time to allow everyone to get access to block bounty's protocol layer. So that means that you won't have to use our front end at all. You could put bounties on your own website using the API tools that will provide, or write directly to the sidechain that block bounty is going to reside on. And then next up, our educational features for Urban Farmer dApp. It's the last remaining step before we can really begin to launch the dApp and let end users use the app. They need to be able to see how to grow their crops and how to harvest them, how to sterilize their equipment, all of that kind of stuff. And it's a big lift, and our team just was not able to fund that internally. So we're asking for help to be able to spend the time. We're going to grow 30 crops, and we're going to take all 30 crops all the way through production, all the way through packaging, all the way through storage, all the way through sterilization after the fact, and back through the cycle, so that an end user can pick up the app, use the app, and be able to just get in there and successfully farm. So that this app, we're fighting food insecurity, and we're moving users to true food sovereignty. So the users of our app will have access to a fresh nutritional produce and a marketplace with food traceability, all powered by Cardano. And lastly, as I spoke earlier, just to give back to the community, I've been providing regular after town hall sessions. I do topics like Cardano governance and topics of entrepreneurship, just teaching people how to build better businesses for themselves. And I feel like that everybody in our community can use that because it'll improve, communication skills and their ability to run their businesses successfully. And I'd like to not only continue doing that, I'd like to do it in a more structured fashion. So every 2 weeks for 6 months, and I put that in Catalyst Open. So that's that nice open category where nothing else quite fits. So it's in there, and it's there for you guys to consider that to help me fund that. I'm still going to keep doing it. I'd appreciate the help with the funding. Together, these 4 proposals are going to build community resilience and provide our team the funds we need to deliver useful tools and drive wider adoption to the Cardano community. And so please support our small farm with big dreams as we grow with Catalyst. How's
Perfect,
that, Pete?
Lloyd? You had 8 seconds to go. So that's pretty much spot on. So I can tell you practiced.
I practiced that a few times.
You did. Yeah, I can tell. All right, now you've got some interesting things here. So first off, the Entrepreneur Series. I had no idea that you were doing that. I'm never awake for the Catalyst Town Halls. It's usually on at 3 a.m. So what time is it usually on? I'd love to catch that sometime.
So to catch it live, you would need to be there at 1 p.m. Eastern time right now. I think it's 1700 UTC, so it's a rough time frame for you. Yeah. But what I do when I'm done with them right now, I'm posting them all on Drip Drops. So the Drip Drops YouTube channel has backlog copies of a lot of my after town halls. They don't all make it up there. There's various problems that we've had again, so I'm trying to formalize it a bit more. But there's quite a few samples of them up there, so you can see how I guide the community through a topic, and then we have a discussion or a working session afterwards. And they're all there on the Drip Drops YouTube.
Great. Okay, I'll make sure I check those ones out. And Thanks. Now the other question was around the Urban Farmers series, and how does the blockchain and crypto tie into that? I totally understand the whole idea of food sovereignty and being self-sufficient. And I live in an apartment. I would love to be able to learn how to grow more herbs, more crops, and everything around that, so I could be more self-sufficient. But how does blockchain tie into that?
Thank you. And that's like always the important question, right? Like why is this a blockchain thing? So the reason this is a blockchain thing is food traceability. That's the primary and number one reason. If you are making produce for yourself, you really don't necessarily need food traceability. But the idea that we had was that users who start this process oftentimes will grow for neighbors, friends, the community. They'll have surplus that they can either donate or that they could sell. And in fact, it's actually really easy to end up with a lot of surplus. And then you start thinking, wow, I wonder if I could sell some of this. It happens really fast. That was something we learned. So but in order to sell produce properly, you really need food traceability. You really need a means of tracking who touched the food, when, how it got where it needed to go. Some places make it a requirement now, others don't. It just kind of depends on where you live. We feel that to protect our end users, we want the food traceability in there for all of them, regardless of how far it's going to travel. And it's automatic. They don't have to do the work themselves to do the food traceability. It just happens. They don't even have to pay for the on-chain NFT unless they are selling it. And that happens automatically if they list it in the marketplace. You see, so we're building out, we're using the chain for what the chain's really meant for. It's supposed to kind of, I use the reference of TCP/IP. Does anybody really know what an ARP table is or any of that stuff? I worked in the early 90s on the internet, so I know what that stuff is, but a person today has no clue what that is. They don't use it. They've never had to, but they use it every day. Blockchain should be the same way. And so part of this is that we are using the blockchain for food traceability. We're using it to drive a marketplace, but they don't really have to know that or understand that. And so that's why it's great that it's a question as to where's the blockchain in this? It's like, well, it's hidden, but it's really there because the things that blockchain are really good at, supply chain management, marketplaces, food, and traceability of any sort, whatever it is, it's all there. And so we're leveraging all that tech and doing it the right way, so this app will grow into the future for us.
That's absolutely brilliant. That's really cool that you tied that in and made it hidden. If you don't know it's there and you're using it, it's probably a really good use case for it. Now, the last one here is I probably just want an explanation of what an application-specific sidechain is. I know what it is, but I know our audience may have no clue whatsoever. So can we get a little bit of an explanation as to what that is?
Sure. And this is, again, in our journey as we've gone through this and figured out better ways to implement blockchain. It's very expensive to do stuff on the main chain. So we can store way more data about our farming if we have a side chain. If we use the main chain only, we can do one thing. It's like take a snapshot of all the data related to this crop and kind of put it in an NFT and drop it on the chain. And it's not terribly expensive, but if I'm doing hundreds of crops in a year, it could add up to a lot of ADA. So instead of doing that, we started to understand how a sidechain works, which is it uses the main chain to secure the fact that the stuff that's happening on the side chain is legitimate. So I've been working with a couple of the members of the IOG sidechain team. They're neat. They've been super helpful to our team and helping us get off the ground. They have built a sidechain toolkit. But again, their sidechain toolkit requires all this knowledge. Like you have to understand the blockchain and DB sync and nodes and this and like the list goes on and on and on. And even, I'm pretty good at this stuff, and I was still like, whoa, there's so much to do and so much to learn. And so I work with my engineer, Paul, and he and I sat down and we're like, well, look, we can do this, this, and this in a wrapped script, and then we could get a sidechain launched. And then we're like, well, how are they going to discover it? And that's where we started working with what Adam Dean's doing with SIP88. And we're like, yeah, this fits here and here, but not here. So, we can. And so bottom line, we kind of came together, and here it is. We now have the ability to launch a sidechain. The sidechain can be very specific to a single app, so it can be very inexpensive to save all that data, but still protected by the mainnet and have all the security Cardano offers. And then at a much lower cost and very, very scalable to lots of quantity of data. And people can find it fairly easily because we'll build this tool that'll help the wallets and the validators will both be able to, because that's the thing is making a sidechain is another opportunity for stake pool operators as well, because they actually get to run the validators and make money running validators for the sidechain, just like they validate on the main chain, right? And they don't have to. It's not a requirement that every stake pool operator does it. It's just they call it a committee. You have to have a certain size group of operators that you define, and as long as you've got enough in the committee, then the sidechain's valid. And so that's the bottom line. Super neat. And it's a scalability thing. It's a growth thing for Cardano in general, not just us. But that's why it is. So it's perfect for us to give this back to the community. We need it, and now the rest of the community can use it as well to grow their businesses.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. And again, right on time. We've got 5 seconds to go with your Q&A session. So
perfect.
Thank you, Lloyd, for those explanations and everything around your catalyst proposals as well. It's really good to dig into it and understand how application-specific sidechains work and all this other stuff as well. So thank you so much. Again, I'll put all the links in the show notes so that anyone is interested in what you're doing can check out all your proposals. So thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Appreciate the opportunity.